Greetings, I'm Karen Colligan, and welcome to the Let's Talk Leadership podcast. So, why do I care about leadership? As a founder of PeopleThink, and in my tenure as a leader, a consultant, and a coach, I've certainly seen my share of very good leaders and my share of very bad leaders. And I thought, it'd be great to share the wisdom from the very good leaders. Hence, the Let's Talk Leadership podcast. You're going to hear from a variety of leaders who are in a variety of roles, sharing their leadership expertise by answering the same 6 questions. Every single leader is unique in their style and approach, and we want to capture that uniqueness and provide you, the listener, with a diverse way of looking at leadership. So let's get moving and talk to our next leadership guest. In this episode, I am thrilled to be speaking to Wendy Richards, who is the CEO of MarTel Advisors. We're going to hear all about Wendy's approach to leadership. So Wendy, welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Karen. It is a pleasure to be here.
Great. We're going to have a good conversation. So Wendy, before we get into our leadership conversation, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and give us a snapshot of MarTel Advisors?
Thank you, Karen. I serve as board director, strategist, and executive coach to some of the leading innovative growth ventures around the world. I founded MarTel Advisors more than 2 decades ago to serve clients in innovation and growth in financial services, telecoms, and food technology. My sweet spot is at the confluence of leadership and strategy, really to be at that cutting edge of bringing people and the energy and spirit of people directly to achieve their results. I began my career in Europe, where I was named by Fortune magazine among the 50 most powerful women in business in Europe. And I bring that multicultural, multilingual, global approach to my work today to inspire leaders and their teams for top performance. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thrilled to have you. Can't wait to start chatting. We're 2 souls of the same make, aren't we? Talking about people. I mean, the name of my company is PeopleThink. You're talking about human spirit, team, leadership. We got a lot to talk about today, Wendy. All righty. So let's get down to first things first. There are so many ways to define leadership because it's really so personal to each individual. So first question, tell us, Wendy, how do you define leadership?
For leaders to understand who they are, that's at the heart of leadership. Know thyself and recognize one's own unique strengths, gifts, and talents, and to thereby, by recognizing our own gifts, we can then also acknowledge and recognize these strengths and gifts and talents of our teams.
Yes. And with that, I will say, Wendy, we have to honor other people's strengths, gifts, and talents and recognize that the more diverse they are, the better the end result will be. And so although I know in some ways my strengths, gifts, and talents, what I also know is what my limitations are. And I want to embrace people who can really shine bright around the things that I don't do well. That's how we're going to get to the best end product. Definitely.
Exactly. And that ability to bring complementary skills together and to align, motivate, and create systems and structures, and to define ideas and goals in a way that we can bring our teams together and be agile in how we respond to the opportunity. When you asked me about the definition, I reflected on the word itself, leadership. And as a sailor, I focus on the word ship.
Yes.
When we're sailing a boat at sea, there is an truly life affirming importance of teamwork, knowing your role on the boat, knowing your skill as crew, as captain, as tactician, whatever your role is on the ship. It's about working together and getting to that goal, making those waypoints along the way. And it's important that the leader define that purpose in a way that inspires people to do their best, and then charts that course with enough precision that people know the steps to get from A to Z. And then to really bring all of the team together for the power that's needed to propel the entire vessel, to harness the wind, to surf the waves, to respond to changes when storms come in, to redesign technology when it doesn't work, to adjust, to align, to adjust again, realign, and bring that sense of resilience, agility, and creativity, and all the while enjoy one another and have some fun.
And get to the destination. Let's not forget about that one.
Yeah, right. And then maybe stop along the way and jump in and have a swim, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be some fun in this whole
You bet.
leadership thing. I don't care what anybody says. Well,
absolutely.
That's a wonderful visual, because as you're speaking, I can see it. I can hear it. I can hear the water. I can hear the adjustments, the realignments, this is where we're headed to. And so a really nice visual, thinking about how you translate that from being a captain on a ship to being in any organization. Just as you talked about the innovative organizations, it doesn't matter. Leadership has to have that vision, as you said. They have to be able to inspire. They have to build a team with complementary skills. They have to really recognize what's our end result and what's better than sailing. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Love, 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 love that. All righty then. So now we're going to chat about values. And so I'm curious, the way that I look at values, Wendy, is it's really our guiding light. It's our North Star. It's really about how we navigate and make decisions. When the decisions get really hard, if we're clear about our values, we will make the right decisions based on who we are and our values. And so values to me are just so important to be able to articulate. So tell me, or tell us, I should say, your top 3 values, and then a little bit about what each one means, please.
Thank you, Karen. Without question, integrity is number one. Integrity is the keel that keeps the boat balanced. Everything else relies on that sense of balance. And it then aligns with the purpose that is the motivating goal towards which the team works together. That's our goal, where we want to arrive. Yeah. My second value is learning and curiosity, to approach the world with wonder, to ask questions, to listen to the team and respond to challenges. At the helm of the boat, to constantly adjust to the wind, the waves, the currents, and to look for ways that people on the team can excel and enjoy moving beyond their own preconceived boundaries to excel in even greater ways. Yeah.
And as you were saying that, the first thing that popped in my head is to help people be more than they even believe they can be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love it. Okay. Your third value.
The third value is inspiration. And inspiration for me includes purpose, commitment, and courage. That when we have that inspiration, that purpose, that commitment, and that strength of commitment that allows us to demonstrate courage and be courageous, that's the value I see for leaders, is that we, as leaders, that we inspire our people. It ties back to, being more than we thought we could be, right? And being there to guide the team and support the team. And if we look at the root word of inspiration, it comes from that energy that breathes life into everyone on the team. To inspire comes from the breath. So as a leader, we're like the lungs breathing energy and life into our teams.
And I will just make a comment about those leaders that maybe we've all been around that aren't such great leaders, and they suck out the breath and the energy of everyone else, and they take it out of their lungs. And so again, from an analogy perspective, it's really beautiful because you can see it, and we've all had leaders that have done that exact thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
And in my practice, I work with both types of leaders, because I work with all kinds of people.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, people. I do.
Yep.
Oh, yes,
Right?
indeed.
And part of the challenge is that helping those leaders who don't fulfill on that important aspect of leadership, to help them see what's standing in their way, and to help them adjust where their attention is, because clearly their attention is somewhere else, and to help them and to empower them to learn how to inspire, and to allow themselves the freedom to actually inspire themselves and be inspired, and thereby inspire their teams.
And it's all about self-awareness and the willing to really look inside and be self-aware and willing to look at that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So we've got integrity, we've got learning and curiosity as one. So we're just going to say learning curiosity as one word. We've just made up a new word. And
yeah, they're sort of the flip side, the front of the hand, the back of the hand, right?
Exactly.
If you're a learner, then you come to life with a sense of curiosity.
Absolutely. And the third is inspiration. So perfect. Okay. So the third question. So Wendy, we're going through an enormous amount of transition and change between the global pandemic, the social awakening, and now what we have going on across the sea, we shall say. How do you lead through transition and change?
Karen, for me, that's where I get energy, where I find the energy. I am a leader who enjoys change and transition. And for those leaders like me who thrive on change and thrive on transition, part of our opportunity, and in many cases our responsibility to our teams, is to bring that skill and that strength to others on the team for whom consistency is their strength, right? So leading through transition is engaging the team and learning the language of our teammates. If one of our teammates excels at consistency and precision and is very process oriented, and if we are someone who thrives on change, loves new ideas, easily adapts, then learning how to break down each step of change in a way that can be understood and internalized by everyone on the team, I think that's really the key to manage transition. I've been involved in several digital transformation efforts, in launching new products, in adjusting clearly to COVID in the past 2 years, and working in the food industry. That's an essential service. Right. So our teams had to overnight, literally with just 5 days, we had to go from being fully in the office to having all the executive staff working from home, and to also just find ways for people working in the actual plants and in the operations to stay safe and healthy and still deliver food so people had food at the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you're talking, what intrigues me here is you say that you enjoy change and transition and that you thrive in it. And that goes back to your value. When you talk about curiosity and the learning component, because with your curiosity, it means about potential options. It goes back to what you said about leadership. You have to be agile, and all that seems like it's just a natural part of who you are, Wendy, which really would help you thrive in change and transition. And you also mentioned there's people who love the consistency. They love the routine, and that's more complicated for them to embrace. And I can't even comprehend what had to happen in that time frame in the food tech world of how people had to shift, change, pivot, whatever words you want to use, instantly. And if that's not a natural talent for someone, it must have been very, very hard and complicated to do. And as a leader, how do you hear the different ways that people are engaging or not engaging to help them? I'll go back again to say, be more than they expect that they could do. Yeah.
And because you need the consistency, you can't sacrifice that, right?
Right.
Because quality, we need to trust our food supply. We need to know that our ingredients maintain that level of quality, right? That our production lines keep running, whatever it is, whether it's food or chips or whatever it is, right? And so we need that consistency, and we need to create systems that enable agility for the organization.
Yeah. And as funny as you think about it, change is really about being agile. And that word is being used a lot these days and being asked of people a lot these days. And I often think it's important for people to really define that word before they go outbound with it, because agility is it's everywhere we look and hear. People are talking about how important it is. And it's the truth. You got to be able to shift, no question. All righty. So we know the best leaders are curious and always learning. And of course you are, Miss Wendy, because we have it in your values. What are some of the tools or resources you've used to make sure that you are really engaging with your curiosity and learning? So what do you do? What are some of the things you do?
Well, I intentionally bring my learning to both the content and the context. So from a content point of view, I make a point to stay abreast of the industry. What's happening? What are the new developments? Who are the leaders? What are the new initiatives, new technologies, new processes? Where are the customers going? What is important to people today? What are the values that our customers and our consumers want? So a focus on content, and then a focus on context. How are the teams affected in this new world of hybrid work? And then how do we better manage and inspire our teams? So staying abreast of developments such as neuroscience, linguistics, all of these elements that advances that are happening so quickly today with the benefit of new data, new AI, and powerful computing. So I focus my learning on both aspects of that. And then I bring that to my clients, both in strategic insights and new ways of defining the future, and in team and one-on-one coaching by applying new tools, the new science of personality and strengths assessments, and bringing all of that to integrate their ability to meet the market needs and to be better leaders.
So you learn from content and context. And what are some of the resources you do to get to the content and context?
First and foremost, my North Star is people. Not everyone's North Star is people. Data might be someone's North Star, right? My North Star is people. I learn from interacting with other leaders, other innovators, people who have a domain expertise. So my best way to learn is with others.
Okay, so the fifth question, how do you give your folks development and growth opportunities so they stay curious and they continue to learn?
The place I begin when I'm coaching someone one-on-one is to identify very clear, immediate outcomes that will have an immediate impact on their success and their satisfaction and that of their teams. And once we look at where they're headed, where they want to steer their own ship, then the development and growth opportunities flow with that. It's kind of like having the wind at your back on a downwind run with the sails out in front. And the importance of connecting strategy and leadership is just this point, is there is a corporate strategy. There is a corporate culture that ensures the corporate values are met in everyone's everyday actions. And each individual faces unique challenges based on their own role and responsibilities in the organization and on their own strengths, gifts, and talents. So giving people their development opportunities and the growth opportunities starts with where they're headed.
And asking them to articulate that. Because
Yes.
sometimes, Wendy, that's a really hard part for people.
It is.
Really hard piece.
Yeah.
They're afraid to put that stick in the sand or cement, I should say, because they're afraid they won't be able to move it. So sometimes it's really hard to get people to say, what do you want? Yeah.
When you look at what you want, what will having that do for you? Why do you want that? What is the bigger outcome for yourself as a leader, for yourself as a person, for your team, and of course, for your objectives in the business, and for your larger values, right? Like it's also what we're doing for a larger purpose. You know, we are transforming the sustainability and the carbon footprint of our operations. Now, that is based on a very strong value and a culture, and it shows up in many different ways at many different touch points around the organization.
Yeah, it's certainly not a direct line.
Yeah.
And our last question is, what piece of art or music or literature or whatever else keeps you balanced and brings you joy? And joy is the operative word here. So tell us, Wendy, what brings you joy, keeps you whole so that you can really go in there and strategize with the leaders to make sure they're optimizing their people and their teams. What brings you joy?
Nature, being in nature brings me joy, whether it's sailing, being out on the water, moving through the water, seeing those dolphins chasing the bow waves, right? That feeling with the wind in your face.
Yes.
Whether it's scaling mountains, hiking, getting that incredible vista where the air is a bit thin and you can see for miles, or whether it's being in the water, swimming and having that sense of freedom to dive, to observe, to see the beautiful fish and corals that we still have on our planet. It's Mother Nature that keeps me balanced and brings me joy.
And that Mother Nature is pretty darn powerful, isn't she?
She certainly is. She certainly is. Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, that's for sure. Got to keep her safe, don't we, Wendy?
We do. We do.
All right. Wow. We covered a lot of ground, Wendy. We sure did. And so I just want to say thank you so much for your insights, your thoughts, your curiosity, your learning, and really looking through your eyes how you view leadership. Really wonderful story and very visual, which is really great for the listener and for me, of course. As always, it's inspiring to hear from leaders and how they look at these 6 questions. So I really appreciate the fact that you were obviously prepared, really grateful for those wise words of yours, and a lot of learning going into this podcast. So thank you.
Thank you, Karen. It is truly a delight and an honor to be here with you today.
So for everyone out there listening, thank you. I'm Karen Colligan, and you've been listening to Wendy Richards, the CEO of MarTel Advisors. If this leadership podcast was of interest to you, go to the peoplethink.biz website and look at all the other distinguished leaders I've had the pleasure of interviewing. You're going to learn so much about the uniqueness of leadership. I know I have. And don't forget to share with your colleagues. Till the next episode of the Let's Talk Leadership podcast, have a good one. Don't forget to keep it real. Music by Poddington Bear. Editing by Mary Lee Williams. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Bye now.